Good afternoon. This is the World News Review on Independent Television, Abuja. I'm Nkiru Obuli. Many thanks for joining us. More than 40 people lost their life in a bus crash in the northern Indian state of Uttarakhand, just as a top French criminal, Rodin Fage, escaped prison by helicopter. Osawaname Bisgwe has more on forensic.
More than 40 people have died when a bus fell into a gorge in a mountainous region of northern India. The incident on Sunday occurred in Nahi Handa area of Pauri-Gahol district in the state Uttarakhand. Official at the Chief Minister's office in Uttarakhand says 45 people are dead, while many are injured. He added that a probe will determine the reason of the accident, which he said might have been caused by human error or a technical snag. India's National Disaster Relief Force was called to the crash site and is continuing its efforts to reach any passengers trapped in the wreckage. The injured have been rushed to the hospital. The Chief Minister of the state of Uttarakhand said a magisterial inquiry has been ordered. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's office tweeted that Modi was extremely saddened by the news of the death. The French prison authority has said a well-known French criminal escaped from prison by helicopter. Local media reported that French-Algerian top gangster Rodin Fage made his second prison break in just over 5 years on Sunday. Fage, 46, was reportedly assisted by at least 3 armed accomplices who picked him up by helicopter from the rear prison courtyard in the southeastern suburbs of Paris. Report says the operation only took a few minutes. Fage, who was once the most wanted criminal of France, pulled off an earlier prison break in April 2013 when he took 4 prison guards hostage and used explosives hidden in tissue packets to blast his way through several gates. He was captured 6 weeks later in a hotel outside of the French capital. Thai Navy divers still had to navigate through 3 more kilometers of flooded passages to reach a potential safe spot in a vast cave complex where 12 boys and their football coach have been trapped for more than a week. The governor of Thailand's northern province, Chiang Rai, told reporters Sunday that Thai Navy SEALs were getting closer to a chamber in the Tham Luang cave where rescuers hope they will find the team. There has not been any contact with the boys, aged 11 to 16, and their 25-year-old coach since they were trapped in the cave on June 23rd. The team had gone to explore the cave after football practice, but were trapped when floodwaters from heavy rains blocked the main entrance.
Rights groups have accused the French government of aiding in the bloody Egyptian repression through the sales of arms to the Egyptian regime. Osawaname Bisgwe again has more news on the foreign scene.
Rights groups in a report says France has participated in the bloody Egyptian repression for the past 5 years by delivering weapons and surveillance systems to President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi's government. Commissioned by 4 French-Egyptian human rights groups, the study, released on Monday, found French arms sales to Egypt had leapt from 37.6 million to 1.3 billion euros between 2010 and 2016. They charged that French companies were also complicit in what they called a relentless crackdown since el-Sisi overthrew President Mohamed Morsi in 2013. The report notably cited companies selling mass data interception and crowd control technology used for a surveillance system under which tens of thousands of opponents and activists had been arrested. German Interior Minister Horst Seehofer has offered to resign after rejecting a migration deal brokered in Brussels by Chancellor Angela Merkel as the 2 leaders prepare for final talks. Early on Monday, Seehofer confirmed he would offer to step down from the post, while party leaders are reportedly trying to convince the minister to stay put. Speaking outside the CSU headquarters after a leadership meeting, Seehofer told reporters that he would make both posts available within 3 days. He added that he would meet Merkel's Christian Democratic Union on Monday in hopes of reaching an agreement in the interest of the country. Merkel and Seehofer have been embroiled in a dispute for weeks over the Interior Minister's plan to start turning away migrants migrants at the German border who have already registered elsewhere in the European Union. If the CSU withdraws its support for Merkel's coalition, she would be left without a majority in the German parliament, possibly prompting fresh elections. Iranian state media reported that protesters have clashed with security forces in southwestern Iran, a day after several demonstrators were injured in nighttime skirmishes over water shortage and pollution. According to officials, the protests late on Sunday were held in Abadan, just south of Kumasha, along the border with Iraq, where 11 people were hurt on Saturday when an unidentified gunman opened fire during a demonstration. State-run IRNA news agency did not specify how many people were involved in the Abadan demonstration, but said security forces had broken up a crowd that was disrupting public order. It said people protesting over poor water quality in a western district of the city had thrown projectiles and set fire to rubbish bins and a vehicle.
Following his arrest on Tuesday, former Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak was charged with corruption on Wednesday in a dramatic fall from grace 2 months after he lost office. He pleaded not guilty to 3 counts of criminal breach of trust and 1 of abuse of power and was freed on bail. Mr. Najib is accused of taking $700 million from a state fund he set up. Police have recovered $273 million in lottery goods and cash from raids on properties linked to Mr. Najib. He and his wife say the items were legally acquired. A new investigation into the State Development Fund began after his shock election loss in May. Mr. Najib was arrested by anti-corruption authorities on Tuesday and spent the night in detention. A rescue boat carrying 60 migrants arrived Wednesday in a Spanish port after being refused entry by Italy and Malta, the second time in a month that a humanitarian group has been forced to travel for days to unload people rescued in the central Mediterranean. The Italian government is blocking private rescue boats that it blames for encouraging human traffickers to launch unseaworthy boats loaded with migrants towards Europe. But the aid group denied having any link to smugglers in Libya or elsewhere and say they are being forced to leave unattended the busy migrant sea transit route where deaths are mounting. The open-armed rescue ship completed a 4-day journey to Barcelona in northeastern Spain after it saved 60 people Saturday from a rubber boat floating in waters north of Libya. Syrian rebels were facing a deadline Wednesday in negotiation with the regime's ally Russia to either agree to tough surrender terms in the south or come under a renewed military onslaught. Moscow has been backing a 2-week offensive by Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's forces against rebels in the southern provinces of Daraa and Quneitra. But it is simultaneously brokering talks with rebel towns for negotiated surrenders in a carrot-and-stick strategy that France and the regime have successfully used in the past. More than 30 towns have already agreed to return to the regime's control, and talks were focused on remaining rebel territories in Dara's western countryside and the southern half of the city. We'll take a quick break now. When we return, the World News Review continues. Please stay with us.
Independent television is live 24 hours on GoTV, channel 107, Star Times, channel 130. And now you can watch from any part of the world on Roku TV, Smart TV, Amazon Fire TV, and Android TV for your favorite programs, news, current affairs, and lots more. You don't want to miss our objective and balanced reportage, entertainment, and sports. Now follow us via our social media channels on Twitter at ITV Radio NG. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ITV Radio NG. Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/ITV Radio NG. Visit our website for more news stories and lots more. itvradioNigeria.com. Watch ITV via live streaming on the internet. itvradioNigeria.com/live and click on the TV stream option. Also remember to visit your mobile app store and download the ITV app so you can watch on the go. Independent television, certainly the best.
You're on to the World News Review on Independent Television Abuja. Now to other reports. Officials on Wednesday said 2 people are in the hospital in critical condition after exposure to an unnamed substance in the same British town where a former Russian spy and his daughter were poisoned with a nerve agent earlier this year. Counter-terrorism police who led the investigation into the poisoning of Sergei and Yulia Skripal said they were assisting local police in the investigation, which has been declared a major incident by the emergency services. Scientists at Britain's Defense Laboratory at Portsdown are carrying out tests to try and establish if there is any connection between the 2 incidents, British media reported. The couple, a man and a woman in their 40s, were discovered unconscious at a house in a quiet, newly built area in Amersfoort, a village near the prehistorical monument of Stonehenge. In a rather worrying development, a 92-year-old U.S. woman shot and killed her son, 72, in order to avoid being sent into a care home. Anna Mae Blessing, who was charged with murder, contemplated her son's intentions to put her into care for days, according to court documents. Mrs. Blessing told police she had intended to kill herself too. Police records obtained by local media said the incident happened in the morning of 2nd of July in the town of Fountain Hills, Maricopa County. Mrs. Blessing's son, whose name has not been released, wanted her to leave for an assisted living facility because she had become too difficult to live with. Police say in a statement the mother concealed 2 firearms in her robe pockets before confronting her son in his bedroom. Police say a powerful blast tore through a fireworks factory in southern India Wednesday, killing 9 laborers who had just reported for work. The manufacturing unit in the Warangal district of Telangana state burst into flames soon after the workers entered at about 11 a.m. Images showed thick black fumes billowing out of the factory premises, with one of its gates shattered by the impact of the explosion. Firefighters battled to douse the flame and rescue those trapped, but some victims were charred beyond recognition by the time they were reached. In some sports news, Real Madrid Football Club has debunked news on agreement between the club and PSG over 19-year-old Kylian Mbappe. On its website, the club said it had not made any offer to either PSG or the player. Mbappe has scored 3 goals so far for France in the 2018 Russian World Cup. The UN says more than 800,000 people have been displaced by intercommunal violence in southern Ethiopia over the last few months. Let's join Catherine Yayamese for more news on the foreign scene.
Mr. Najib, who has long been plagued by allegations of corruption, has been accused of pocketing $700 million from State Development Fund, IMDb. Billions of dollars are unaccounted for from the fund set up by Mr. Najib. He has been under investigation since his shock election loss in May. Mr. Najib denies wrongdoing. According to a statement by the IMDb Special Task Force, Mr. Najib was arrested at 11:35 local time at his house in relation to matters dealing with SRC, a subsidiary of IMDb. He will be charged at 8:30 on Wednesday at the Kuala Lumpur High Court. German Chancellor Angela Merkel has reached a deal on immigration to end a row which threatened to break up her 4-month-old coalition government. Interior Minister Horst Seehofer, who leads her Bavarian CSU allies, has now dropped his threat to resign. Mrs. Merkel agreed to tighten controls at the Austrian border to stop people who have applied for asylum in other EU countries from entering Germany. Transit centers will be set up to hold them until they can be sent back. Mrs. Merkel described the deal as a good compromise after tough negotiation. The SPD rejected a proposal for such centers in 2015 when the migrant numbers entering Bavaria from Austria were far higher than now. The Austrian government says it is seeking clarification of that, and it is preparing measures to protect its southern borders with Italy and Slovenia.
A woman working at Mother Teresa's missionary of charity in the Indian state of Jharkhand has been arrested for allegedly selling a 14-year-old baby. For more news on the foreign scene, let's join Lulu Odo.
A woman working at Mother Teresa's Missionaries of Charity in the eastern Indian state of Jharkhand has been arrested for allegedly selling a 14-day-old baby. The two women employees from the center have been detained and are being questioned about other possible cases. Police took action after the State Child Welfare Committee registered a complaint. The charity has not yet responded. Police also recovered 140 rupees from the center, which is located in Jharkhand's capital, Ranchi. Nobel laureate Mother Teresa, who died in 1997, founded the Missionaries of Charity in 1950. The sisterhood has more than 3,000 nuns worldwide. She set up soup kitchens, schools, leper colonies, and homes for abandoned children. The Missionaries of Charity also runs centers for unmarried pregnant women, but no longer arranges adoption. The Home Secretary has called on Russia to explain the Novichok poisoning after two more people were exposed to it. The couple, believed to be Charlie Rowley, 45, and Dawn Sturges, 44, fell ill at a house of Angry, Wiltshire on Saturday and remained critically ill. Sajid Javid said the nerve agent used in the latest poisoning was the same type as that which ex-Russian spy Sergei Skripal was exposed to in March. He said 100 counter-terrorism officers were working with Wiltshire police. He said the strong working assumption was that the couple came into contact with the nerve agent in a different location to the sites which had been part of the cleanup operation after the Skripal poisoning. Earlier, Prime Minister Theresa May said it was deeply disturbing to see two more people exposed to Novichok in the UK, and the police will leave no stone unturned in their investigation. Rescuers are racing against the rains to free 12 boys and their football coach who are trapped in a flooded cave in northern Thailand. A deluge is expected to hit in a matter of days that could force the water level to up, threatening to flood the pocket where the group took refuge. The teenage boys and their 25-year-old coach have been trapped for 12 days. They were found on Monday night by rescue divers on a rock shelf about 4 kilometers from the cave mouth. The boys have now received food, foil, blankets, and medical attention, and rescuers are trying to run cable through the cave tunnel so they can speak to their families.
And for Foreign News Friday, our correspondent is standing by.
A senior leader of a Tanzanian opposition party has been arrested for insulting President John Magufuli. He is the latest in a line of several citizens and politicians who have been detained on similar charges. Posting a question, "Who is the president, really?" on his Facebook page was enough to get Julius Matiro arrested. Police detained him as they found this phrase offensive to the president. They went on to search Mr. Matiro's home for the device used to post on social media. Mr. Matiri has reposted on solidarity with a young man in northwestern Tanzania who originally raised the question on his Facebook page and himself got arrested 3 days ago. Right activists have been criticizing the Tanzanian authority for suppressing free speech, but the government says unlimited freedom of expression may result into a breach of peace. No fewer than 15 people were killed on Friday when a truck carrying construction workers skidded off a dead truck and plunged downhill in north-central Nepal. Police said the truck was carrying 32 workers who headed to a construction site to build a road near Nepal's border with China when the incident occurred on Friday afternoon. He said the driver lost control of the vehicle, sending it about 50 meters below the mountain district of Mustang in the Himalayan region. 14 people were killed in June after a bus carrying employees from a financial institution veered off a mountain road and plunged about 150 meters downhill in Palpa district. Poorly maintained vehicles, coupled with reckless driving and bad roads, lead to numerous fatal road accidents in Nepal every year. Thai rescuers pulled 28 bodies from water off the coast of the holiday island of Phuket on Friday, after a tourist boat went down in a heavy sea with dozens of Chinese passengers on board. The dead were found drifting face down in the water, still wearing life jackets, several kilometers from where the phone sank, after being hit by 5-meter-high waves in a storm on Thursday evening. The three-decker boat was carrying 105 passengers, mostly Chinese tourists, when it sank.
And that's the size of our World News Review on Independent Television Abuja. Many thanks for staying with us. I'm Nkiru Obuli. Do have a wonderful day.